All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the 2021 Security Plus Study Group Kickoff. I'm Chris McGuire, one of the goons for ACM Cyber. And I just kind of wanted to give you some insights onto what the Security Plus exam is, and then talk a little bit about our first annual ACM Cyber Scholarship. Okay. So what is the Security Plus exam? Really, this is the entry-level certification for anyone who's interested in cybersecurity. It's by far one of the most asked for certifications for kind of those internships and entry-level job roles, even to the mid-level. You'll be good with this certification. When you get to the senior level and executive level, then they look for some other certifications, but this one is going to be really good. And also, if maybe cybersecurity isn't your main focus, it's always really good to have this certification as like a software developer, because one of my friends that I worked with, he is getting the Security Plus not as a requirement from his job, but to really kind of help him be a security leader on his development team. And so two of the main things here, the ISO 17024 and the DoD 8140, or the newer one, which is the 8570. These are like, if you want to work in security, you're going to need this certification. All right, so a little bit of history kind of about it. So this is going to be, I believe, like the 6th version of the exam, give or take a few numbers there. And then it rotates to a new certification like exam. So there's like a test bank, but it rotates every 3 years. And so right now, you can see on this slide here, some of the organizations that have contributed: Target, General Dynamics, Netflix, Splunk. That is the Cyber or Informational Warfare Training Command and Johns Hopkins University. And some of the job roles that you'll be able to get with this certification, covers the whole gamut from security administrator up to IT project managers. All really kind of use this certification. So what is the test exactly? So this version, again, version 6, launched in last year in November. It has a maximum of 90 questions. So what they do in these exams is they'll have some questions that are test questions, where in the sense that they are testing them themselves. They want to see how people respond to those questions. And then the other questions are going to be scored questions. And you'll never really know which ones are going to be which. So there's multiple choice and also performance-based. So the performance-based ones will be more kind of like a hands-on, at least in the thought process, and will also require some moving of pieces on the screen to answer the questions. The exam has a time limit of 90 minutes, and you're going to need a 750 out of 900 to pass the exam. And again, so the questions, you're not going to know what they're scored. They're not all equal points. And so the material that this exam covers are the most like core technical skills a security person is going to need: risk analysis or risk assessment, incident response forensics, enterprise network. It'll touch a lot on the cloud, actually, probably more now than when I took it. And then security controls, which are very closely related to the risk assessment part. All right, so here's the domains. So the test is broken into domains. So for study material, the test will randomly move through these domains throughout the whole time, but each domain will have a long list of topics that it can cover possibly, and you can kind of see here in this image where the focus is on the test. So if you're aiming for that 75%, you're probably good with focusing on 4 of these, but definitely it's good to study all of them.
I have a quick question about the 601 exam thing. So I heard from someone that the exam was staying in the 501 format until like the end of June or July, and then it officially switched over to 601. Is it 601 right now, or how does that work exactly?
Yeah, great question. So right now it's kind of in that overlap period, because what happens is when they start a new exam, one, they're still kind of testing it out, so they haven't fine-tuned it. And then the second reason is somebody who's been studying for a year for the 501, they can't just pull the rug out from under them. So yes, you are correct that the 501 is still active until I do believe it's either June or July of this year. And on that topic, I have heard the 501 is slightly easier in content. I took the 401, so I haven't taken the 501 or the 601 to confirm that. But yeah, that's a very good point.
Okay, because I know the 501 had 6 domains. They covered a little more on crypto stuff, as far as I know. But yeah, it does seem like they're changing that a bit for 601.
Yeah, that's another good point. There are also the domain differences and changes. And I think one of the other things that they, I think they just reorganized the domains, not necessarily changed the overall content. But I do believe they've also added more of the cloud security stuff to this exam, the
Okay,
601.
gotcha.
Yeah. But yeah, that might be something good to talk about in the study group, what the differences are, because some people might want to change. I just feel unless somebody's planning to take it in 2 months, it's probably best to focus on the 601. So moving on to the actual study group part. So these are kind of just some of the goals, this I guess I had for the group, and hopefully it's really more of a way to, hey, this is a group. You guys can take this for what it's worth. But this was just kind of some of my thoughts that, again, it's a self kind of running group. So hopefully somebody can help each other make their own goals. So for the group, it's going to be self-running. It really should be open to all levels. So anyone who's either new or super experienced should all be welcome to join. And then choose different methods. So when I talk about this is when you're studying, try out different methods. So maybe have some people do a presentation, maybe work on building flashcards together, or building test questions, or finding test questions online and working through those together. And for the members, so my goals for the people who join this study group are, one, to make friends with each other who are working towards the same goal. Learn some new material related to security. And I really would hope that people, when they're done with this study group at the end of the quarter, will be more confident than they were for the test. And then finally, for members, hopefully you can make your own goal, like maybe sign up for the exam, put it at the end of summer, and then work towards that goal through this group, preparing and over summer. And when you do create your goals, when you go into industry right now, at least, it's very popular, these things called SMART goals. As the image here says, they should be specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and within a time frame, set a time frame. So hopefully the group will come up with some goals together, and also for individuals. And then hopefully most of the contact for the group will occur in the Discord channel that we created. And if you are interested and haven't been added the role, let me or some of the other goons know to add you to the Sec Plus role. All right. So some of the methods, kind of like what I was talking about. I added some links here for some ideas to help you guys get started on what you might be interested in. So one option, might be that you split up the domains to study, and then different people present. And then option two might be where you split up the domains and everyone finds questions. And then, maybe there's some other ones that people come up with in the group. Again, you can use these links as some ideas. And if anyone needs help, always can reach out. So the most exciting thing for me this year is going to be offering this scholarship. We're working on getting sponsors, so there'll probably be some more advertising logos pretty soon. But for now, it's just ACM. And so what is this scholarship? So there are kind of like 3 ways to qualify: through attending workshop and social events, joining the competition team, and then the one I'm going to talk about today is how to qualify through the study session. branch. So there's going to be 3 tests offered that I've been working to create. So 2 of them, the first 2 are going to be benchmark tests. With the first one, I will open up as soon as I get off this call. And then those benchmark tests are really just, that's what they are. Test yourself to see where you're at and see your own growth. And then the final exam is going to be one of the elements of qualifying, where whoever, it's probably going to be the top 5 people from that, in addition to their attendance points to the group. And so what will happen is we're going to be hosting Saturday events, and I'm just going to log in during those events and take a screenshot of Discord, and whoever is present is going to get the credit for being part of that attendance points. Again, so the top 5, after both the final exam points and the attendance points are combined, are going to be invited to apply for the scholarship. We want to open it up to as many people as possible to, and we have 3 different ways to qualify. And all 3 ways are going to be separate. So you can qualify in the top 5 for multiple of these, paths to the scholarship. And it's going to be open to all members of ACM Cyber. The only requirement we have is that you are a UCSD student. So studying for resources, these are just kind of some things that I came up with really quickly. So domains, here's a link that you don't have to sign up for CompTIA, because in order to get access to their domain, exam objectives, as they call it, you have to input a bunch of information. To make it easy, you can just click this link and download it via PDF. And then the CompTIA study materials. So when you go to register for the exam, you'll see there are materials offered by CompTIA. The book is maybe something you're going to be interested in, but all their other material I've already purchased in the past and honestly didn't find it extremely helpful. The one that I have not tested was the hands-on labs, but based on what I've seen on Reddit, almost nobody uses it to pass the exam. So my recommendation is stay away from the CompTIA study materials. So Reddit, that's where a lot of exam discussions are, and you'll see people post like, hey, I passed the exam and these are all the materials I used. So that's one way to find more resources. Boson practice exams, so these do cost money. It's like $100. For my experience, these are probably the most realistic exam questions in a test environment. It's its own application that you download and run it as a test. And it also does some of the interactive questions, or at least those styles. So that, in my opinion, is going to be the most realistic thing you'll find out there. Udemy. So Udemy has some paid for courses that are really cheap. They're like $10, I think. You might also be able to find discounts out there as well. But those were at least some of the most common things that I came across for people who use study questions and also prepared. All right. So I guess, does anyone have any questions?
So during those Saturday study groups, what are we typically aiming to do? Is it more of like we set timelines to cover content, or is it we'd be presenting certain content, or how would that be structured?
Yeah. So I think that's gonna, at least my hope is the goal for this Saturday, is the group will kind of make that determination together. And I think everybody learns differently. So some people might want to contribute in different ways.
All right, gotcha.
Awesome. I guess, does anyone else have any questions? All right, awesome. Well, here is the link that should be active. Let me know on Discord if it does not work for you. Other than that, have a good rest of your night.
All right, thanks, Chris.